These are some of the Simpsons episodes where things got seriously heated. Episode 1. Homer vs. Lisa and the Eighth Commandment. The Simpsons classic where Homer's impulse control takes a permanent vacation, and Lisa's moral compass goes into overdrive. Homer finds himself with an illegal cable hookup and is thrilled. Hundreds of free channels without paying a dime. But as Homer dives deeper into TV land, Lisa's horrified. She's fresh from Sunday school, where they taught her that stealing sends you straight to hell. Now she's picturing her family surrounded by flames.
It won't cost you a thing. Except your soul.
Lisa, determined to save Homer's soul, takes Reverend Lovejoy's advice to stage a silent protest. She sits there giving Homer the ultimate disappointed stare every time he parks in front of the TV. Meanwhile, Bart's living it up, sneaking peeks at those late-night channels. Homer, obsessed with the gaudiest infomercials cable can offer. Then comes Fight Night. Homer throws a massive party to showcase his pirated cable. Everyone's there, even Mr. Burns, who calls him Barney. And for the first time, we meet Dread Eric Tatum, the Simpsons' take on Mike Tyson.
In the closet. Will you quit staring at me like that?
As Homer revels in his TV glory, he realizes the damage it's doing, especially with Lisa's silent judgment from outside. In a last-minute twist, Homer finally dramatically cuts the cable. From Troy McClure selling tooth-whitening candy to Bart's relentless hell chant post-Sunday school, and Marge shutting him down, this episode is pure gold. Phil Hartman's multiple voices, Moses, the sleazy cable guy, and Troy McClure add extra hilarity to every scene. This episode, folks, solid gold. Episode 2. Marge vs. the Monorail. Springfield, a town that can barely keep its potholes patched, gets swindled into buying a brand new monorail system. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything, especially when Homer's put in charge of running the thing. Marge, the lone voice of reason, is trying to save the town from a literal disaster, while Homer is, well, just trying to figure out which button makes it go faster. So here's how it unfolds. Mr. Burns, up to his usual shady dealings, dumps nuclear waste in the city park. The town gets slapped with a $3 million fine, and the citizens are tasked with deciding how to spend it. Marge suggests fixing up Main Street. You know, the place that's more pothole than pavement. But enter Lyle Landley, a smooth-talking con man who pitches the town on a shiny new monorail. Of course, he's the only one in town with a vision, so everyone buys into it. Literally.
Hello, little girl. Wondering if your dolly can ride the monorail for free?
Hardly.
Marge, being the sensible one, is the only person asking, hey, what happens when this thing actually starts running? But of course, Homer's too busy imagining himself as a monorail conductor, fulfilling a lifelong dream he conveniently forgot to mention last year when he got arrested for streaking on a baseball field. Fast forward to Homer's training, which, surprise, involves little more than watching 3 weeks of videos about monorails. Marge gets suspicious, digs a little deeper, and bam! Discovers Lyle's evil plan to rip the town off and leave everyone stranded in the process. Marge tries to warn Homer, but he's too busy making sure his Go Fast button is working. While the monorail picks up speed faster than a kid on Red Bull, Marge, on the other hand, is doing the hard work. She drives to the ghost town of North Haverbrook, finds the scientist who built the faulty monorail, and learns that Landley cut all the corners to make a quick buck. So, of course, Marge goes back to Springfield just in time to see the monorail go completely off the rails. Literally. As the monorail speeds toward disaster, Homer finally gets it together. Sort of. And with some quick thinking, stops the thing by tying a giant M to a rope and hurling it out the window. It latches onto the giant Lard Lad donut statue. And boom, the monorail finally halts. Everyone's saved. And somehow the town thinks Leonard Nimoy saved them. Classic. And honestly, thank goodness for Marge. Without her, the town would have gone full speed ahead into chaos. Episode 3. Bart vs. Australia. It all starts with a simple bathroom race between Bart and Lisa, and of course Bart loses. He blames it on Lisa's shampoo being in the inner lane, and Lisa, trying to school him, explains the Coriolis effect. You know, the thing that makes water spin differently in the northern and southern hemispheres. Bart, though, he's not buying it. Instead of just accepting that maybe science knows better, he sets off on a mission to prove her wrong. He starts draining sinks and flushing toilets, hoping to see something interesting. And of course, the water spirals counterclockwise. And this is Bart we're talking about, so he dials up entire countries to test the theory. And yep, prank calling the world, because why not? Bart's first call, Antarctica. No answer, Chile. Nada. But then, Bart reaches an Australian kid named Tobias. After pretending to be a Dr. Bart Simpson of International Draining Commission in Springfield, Bart asks which way the water drains in Australia. Tobias says clockwise, and Bart's world collapses. He tries to get Tobias to check his neighbor's water, keeping the line open for hours, racking up an insane phone bill for the Simpsons family. And poor Tobias' dad gets stuck with a $900 charge. But here's the kicker. Tobias' dad is a member of parliament. Suddenly Bart's prank spirals into a full-blown international crisis.
Hello?
Right, I'm calling all the way from Squatters Crag, Australia, and I want to speak to Dr. Bart Simpson right now.
Hold please.
All right.
The US State Department steps in, saying they'll help pay back the Aussies by sending Bart to jail for 5 years. Marge protests, but Homer's all for it, so the family heads to Australia to apologize, where the chaos continues. Homer mistakes a Marine for a Queen's Guard and gets knocked out twice. Bart loses his bullfrog in a fountain, which eventually ruins the Aussies' ecosystem. And things escalate until the Australians demand a boot to Bart's bum, a punishment that's part homage to the Michael Fay caning incident. Bart dodges the kick and moons Australia, mocking them with "Don't tread on me" written on his butt. Classic Bart. The Simpsons narrowly escape, and the episode ends with them flying back home, reflecting on how easy it is to screw up the environment and international relations. Well, because Bart wanted to prove a point about water spinning. Episode 4. Bart vs. Lisa vs. the 3rd grade. So it all kicks off when Bart and Lisa are both stuck in the same 3rd grade class after Bart, of course, fails his achievement test.
Okay, Bart, since you like attention so much, I have a second announcement. I was going to tell you this privately, but because of your incredibly low test score, we're sending you back to 3rd grade.
And what do the geniuses at Springfield Elementary decide to do? Well, throw them into the same classroom, because nothing solves sibling rivalry like cramming them together for 6 hours a day, right? Cue the fireworks. Lisa, who's actually trying to adjust to the chaos of 3rd grade, quickly becomes the academic angel, while Bart, well, he's got a new strategy. Memorize the answers and coast through. He's not about to let the grade slip, especially when he's got his eyes on a certain classmate's A+. Bart's homework strategy? Let Lisa do all the work, then sabotage her for fun. Smooth move, Bart. But things go way off the rails when Bart gets an A+ on a test that Lisa clearly deserved, and now it's war. Lisa, as you'd expect, is furious, but Bart keeps just rubbing it in. And even Mrs. McConnell is like, "Oh yeah, you're an angel too, Bart," and upgrades his grade. Lisa, she's crying, feeling like she's been done dirty. Classic sibling drama. The whole situation just spirals from there. Marge even makes the kid wear fanny packs to a field trip to Capital City, because nothing says "I love you" like a neon fanny pack. And then it gets worse when they're stuck in a buddy system, and because Mrs. McConnell had enough of them fighting, she pairs them up together. Oof, this is going to be a disaster. Things reach a whole new level of petty when Bart makes a prank flag that says "Learn to fart," ruining Lisa's design, which had been a heartfelt attempt at representing fraternal love. Lisa doesn't take this well. She goes full Homer on him, chokes him out, and they end up tumbling down a hill and into a river. Naturally, the school's like, "Hey, we're worried about Lisa, but we've got a class clown pro Tim in Bart's absence, so no worries." They're literally lost in the woods while the adults are still stuck in their weirdly cold, bureaucratic world. Luckily, a family of hillbillies swoops in, saving the day and driving them back to the capital city. Thank you, hillbillies, for saving these two from their own egos. When Marge finally sees them, she's ecstatic. Though Principal Skinner, not so much. He suggests they split them up for everyone's sanity. So back to their original grades they go, with the universe's weird way of restoring balance.